So now we are going to create a new database for our new upcoming and under construction website. Here we are in PHP MyAdmin, and let's just click new and give it a name, that is CRUD, and click create button, and the database has been created. Let's click it to go inside this database, and now it's prompting us to create a new table as it's empty right now. As we are going to create a functionality where users can register with us and will log into their control panel, so we need a table that will store our users information. Let's create and give it a name, users, and keep the number of the columns to 7 and click go. And now we need to name all the columns and define the structure. First column is going to hold the IDs of the users, so name it as user ID and make it primary as well as auto increment so that it can store unique values by incrementing by 1 for each record inserted in this table. Next column is going to store names of users, so name it as name and set its data type to varchar and length to 40. Next column is going to hold usernames, so name it as username and data type to varchar and make it length to 20. Next is email, varchar and 30. Next is password, varchar and 32. Next one is role, and last one is underscore active. So role is going to be tinyInt, and we need to store only one integer here. Like maybe we can store 1 for admin and 2 for author and 3 for maybe other type of users. So let's just keep its length to 1 only. Is underscore active is there just to indicate 3 types of users authentication. Like maybe we can have 1 for pending users, 2 for active and 3 for rejected maybe. So let's just keep it to tinyInt as well and length only 1 character as well. We can also define default values for both of them when new record is inserted. So let's keep the role to 1, and this will be the author role, and 1 for is underscore active column as well. And we are going to consider this 1 for user awaiting for approval. So what does it mean? This setting will make any registrant an author and awaiting for approval by default. We can also write comments for each of the columns to remember what was happening and why. Let's comment this role column and write 1 for authors, 2 for admins, and let's write comment for this is underscore active column as well. 1 for pending, 2 for active. So this will give us exact scenario what have been set here when we'll start coding related to these columns. So we are almost done with this users table. Let's save it. Here you can see now we have one table in our CRUD database, and that is users. As we are going to create an article site, so we need to store articles and article related data. So we need another table here that will store all such kind of information. Let's name of this new table articles and keep 6 columns in it, and hit enter from your keyboard or click this go button here. Now we need to define names and structure for each column of this articles table. So first column is going to be the main identifier of this table, so name it as art ID and type of int, and let's make it primary as well as auto increment. Next column would be the user ID of type int. This column represents the user ID primary field of users table. So this column will hold the ID of the user who will submit the article. So this is basically here to create a relationship between articles and users table. Let's write a comment for this field to avoid any confusion. Primary key of users table. Next we need to store the name of the articles that will provide reference to author when he would like to see all of his articles and would be able to guess each article separately. Let's name it art underscore name of type varchar and make it length 50 characters. Next we need to store title of the article that will show at the start of each article as main heading of or title. So let's name it as title of type varchar and of length 100 characters. Next we want to store the content of the article. So name it content of type medium text, as there can be a lot of text. Lastly, we need to store the date on which the article was uploaded or created. So name it as uploaded_on and type of date for now. And that's it. Let's save this table. Click save, and now we have two tables in our CRUD database, users and articles. We missed one thing in users table, and that is we need to store the date on which user was registered. Let's create this column now. Click users table, and inside here click structure, and below here we have the option to add one more column. We can add this column at the end of the table, at the beginning of the table, or we can select any field after which we would like to place this column. So let's click go. Now we need to define structure and name of this field. Let's name it joint and set type to timestamp, and set a default value that is current_timestamp for this column. This will automatically keep on adding timestamp for each new record. Click save, click structure, and we have our new joint field at the end of users table. Now we have created the database CRUD and two tables, users and articles, inside it that are sufficient to store all the data of our site.